Hello, everybody. My name's Dan King. I'm one of the youth going on the trip. Really excited about that. For those of you that know me, you know that last summer I had an opportunity to go on a trip to Africa. And I went with an organization that does a lot of work in microfinance, providing small loans to people to help kind of give them a leg up and, a handout kind of thing. And while I was there, we were there to do a lot of teaching on some basic Christian business skills to help these people so they have the education and the knowledge to really empower them to be successful with the loans that they were getting. While we were there, one of the things I had the opportunity to do was to go around and meet some of the clients and people who have already benefited from receiving some of these loans. One of the people that I met was a woman named Irene. Irene sells secondhand clothing. When we give our stuff to Goodwill or other charitable organizations, a lot of that stuff ends up overseas. They'll sell it in bundles to people like Irene who go and buy it and can then turn around and sell it and make a living that way, selling these secondhand clothing. When we talk to the people, I always like to ask them how the opportunity to be able to run a small business like that with the help of these microfinance loans, help them personally in their own lives. And Irene said something funny when I asked her that question. She said, well, now I can buy things for my kids. Again, those of you who know me, I'm a dad. I have a 7-year-old son, Samuel, now, and I could relate to that. It's something I could connect with. I was over there for 2.5 weeks, and I knew that I love to bless my son with stuff, And in fact, when I got home, I knew that I was gonna probably go buy him a new game for his Nintendo DS because he was probably gonna be a really good boy, and I was so proud of him and stuff. Well, for some reason in Kenya and Uganda, I didn't see a lot of kids running around playing a Nintendo DS. So I knew she was talking about something different. So I asked her, Irene, well, what kind of stuff do you buy your kids now? And she said, well, meat and bread. And I think probably for one of the first times in my life, I was really, truly, utterly just speechless. I had nowhere to put that. What do you do with that? What did she do before she had the luxury of buying her children something like food? And at that point, I really knew that our worlds were very different. I just got done reading an amazing book, too, where a guy gave up his whole big fancy American job in an air-conditioned office and stuff and sold it all. And him and his brand-new wife moved down to Haiti because they wanted to minister to the people of Haiti. And to do that, they wanted to live there so they could really understand and relate to the people. And part of his inspiration for this was a story in Matthew 19 where Jesus is talking to the young rich man about how to get into heaven. And one of the things that Jesus says in this passage is this: it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Here in the United States, it's very easy for us to look around and point at somebody else and go, oh, they've got much more money than I do. That's the rich man that Jesus is talking about. But the second we start looking outside of our comfy little gates of the United States, we start to realize that everyone here in the United States is the rich man that Jesus was talking about. Let me give you a little bit of information about Haiti. Actually, I want your help too, if you could. Just bear with me on this for a second. I'd like everybody to stand up except if your table is in the first row of your column here. So everybody else stand up. Everybody else in this first row here, please stay seated. If you're standing up right now, if this were a sample from Haiti, then you guys are the ones that live below the poverty line. And the front row is the ones that don't. Okay? And let me define poverty line in Haiti too, because that means that you guys live on an annual salary income of about $400 per year. Okay? You guys go ahead and sit down for a second. In comparison, in the United States, a single person at the poverty line in the United States earns probably about $10,000 per year. That's the poverty line, 25 times what we're talking about in Haiti. So even the poorest amongst us here in the United States, we either have or have access to so much more just the average person in Haiti. Like the last two rows of the long tables here to stand up, and maybe the back two round tables over here. If you guys could stand up for me for a second. You guys represent, this all you guys right here. Yeah, and maybe the back two round tables here. You guys represent those that actually have formal jobs in Haiti. Everybody else in here does not. 2/3 of the people in Haiti don't even have formal jobs. And a lot of you guys can go ahead and sit back down. A lot of that is probably because there's such a shortage of skilled labor down there. A breakdown over years. You can look at the history and stuff too. That has to do with the education system. How many of you guys can read? Just raise your hand if you know how to read. Pretty much everybody, okay, unless you're 4. 52% of Haitians, every other person knows how to read. And that's why I'm going. When I look at the story that Jesus was telling in Matthew 19, a lot of it had to do with how to get into heaven. Okay, and I'm not going because my salvation depends on it, but I'm going because, as Josh was talking about earlier, the book that the youth and I am also reading is because of following Jesus requires us to do hard things. And if I want to be where Jesus is at, I probably need to be where the poorest of the poor are at. So it's not that my salvation counts on it, but I want to follow Jesus with everything I have.